Good to go? All right. Welcome, everybody, to the first ever OOT podcast. Something new here we're doing. I've never done this before, and we are excited to have Bailey Family Insurance here for the first ever podcast.
Wow.
If you guys want to go ahead and introduce yourselves.
Thank you so much for having us. We're super excited. I am Christine Bailey, co-founder of Bailey Family Insurance.
And that would make me Mark Bailey. So first off, thank you so very much for letting us kind of pilot this program and kind of see where it takes us today. We're excited.
Yeah, definitely. Awesome. Awesome to have you guys here. So how this kind of started, well, you guys, first of all, when I was getting started, I got recommended to them because I was having a challenge getting my insurance needs met. I had these weird challenges. I was a licensed drone pilot. We do social media marketing, so we have all these weird challenges, and we needed to make sure we were protected. I came to you guys because you guys, well, one, you just got recommended to you, but you had a wide array of services, and I don't know, it was just, you guys ended up being able to meet all my needs, and how was that a challenge to do? Do you get that very often?
Yeah, no, thank you so much again for your business, for coming to us. So we are a local family and veteran-owned independent insurance agency. So we do have tons of different carriers that we can shop your insurance with. They all have their own appetite or niche. And so we're able to kind of match that up with what you need. And that's why we're able to find like that right coverage at the best price. So specifically for commercial, so many of these different commercial carriers do have their own industry, I guess, or like I said, appetite niche, if you will. And so that's kind of the first thing we do is we meet with the client, we find out what it is that they need, and then we take it back to the carrier. And whether it's general liability or actual contents coverage, your business personal property, commercial auto, workman's comp, the list goes on, and we find a carrier that can suit all of that if that's what you need. And that's where the magic happens.
I think it's just been really cool kind of growing our businesses together. Not only that, I think it's just, the younger demographic of insurance agents, right, as well as, has to adapt these new things like, drone pilots, right? So social media experts.
Yeah, it's definitely a new area.
Exactly. And so a lot of either, older experienced agents, either don't have a carrier that fits that market. So it's just been really awesome, for us to be able to, dive right in and grow our business along with, other local businesses and entrepreneurs that are doing something cool and something new that insurance has to grow and evolve around.
Yeah, because I know I still have State Farm for some things, and they were always great to me, but I went to them first just because that's who I had, and they really couldn't help me with anything that I needed. So it was very interesting to see that you guys could help with that.
Well, that's just kind of how we got started. So my background is insurance. I got out of the military in 2010, started my career at Nationwide Insurance. So I was a claims adjuster for about three and a half years, and doing anything from small loss to large loss, attorney representation, and I kept being the guy that somebody would call when they're having a bad day, and it would constantly be, Mark, my agent didn't tell me I had this coverage, and it kind of got to the point where I knew that we wanted to do something different. So I was then offered a position at Horace Mann here in Springfield, Illinois, start up a total loss unit. Then right after that's when State Farm actually recruited me. So we were about to launch our own State Farm agency. Right then, exactly what you were talking about. We kind of looked at each other and said, do we want to have, like one price, one product, or do we want to be able to help, industries that, we're interested in? Do we want to be able to work with everybody? And that's why we developed, Bailey Family Insurance and really went after the independent model. So no matter what it is that you may be interested in or need help with, we're going to find a carrier to suit your needs.
Yeah, and Christine, what was your background with all this?
Yeah, my background was marketing and advertising. I'm born and raised here in Springfield, went to SHG, Lincoln Land, UIS, and then I moved up to Chicago for my love and passion of the Chicago Cubs.
Big city.
So I fell into digital media, and then I came back here since Mark and I met. We're doing long distance, and I moved back to Springfield, and I started working at Capital Radio Group, the radio station, and I was helping with their digital efforts as well. But then that's about the time that we decided to open, and so yeah, between us and having like that social media presence, and then of course we're on the radio as well. But then they just do so many big community events where you're always wanting to get out there, and that's kind of how we wanted to make sure we could brand ourselves, Christine and Mark, with Bailey Family Insurance, and be able to do whatever we want to do on social media media. So it just really worked out for us to kind of open our own agency and create our own brand.
Definitely. Will you tilt your microphone just up a little bit at you? There you go. Perfect. So how long were you up in Chicago for?
7 years.
Wow, 7 years.
So now I've been back for 5.
I visited my sister up there. She lived up there for 10 years? And it was a great place to visit. I don't think I could have lived there.
I can't imagine now with a 1.5-year-old.
It would be so hard to raise a kid up there, I feel like.
Right.
Seriously, I already feel like the bag lady just pulling into my driveway.
Yeah.
But it was great while it lasted, 20s. And
When
like I said, it
young,
kind of introduced
like,
me to the social media realm, digital media, and lots of learning experience. But good to be back.
Did you say you did work for a company up there doing that?
Yeah, Specific Media and Rocket Fuel. So we helped place digital ads for larger names like Lexus and Pampers, and
Very
so I was
nice.
just on the smaller marketing realm.
Yeah,
That.
that's great. Well, that's awesome. You guys were kind of able to merge your skills there to do that. I know starting a business, it's tough. Some people aren't able to handle that marketing side of things. So it's awesome that you could kind of save some money and at the beginning and take care of that.
Yeah, I don't know about saving money, kind of, but yeah, no, that was probably the turning point where we just kind of looked at each other and said, hey, are we going to give this give it our all, right? What's going to be next, or am I just going to be the one kind of spearheading this while she still got her day job? And we just one night just kind of looked at each other and we're just like, hey, you've got this. Yeah, you got this skill, and we're working all night long where we could be working all day long together and kind of building a brand and building something for our future and our kids' future. And so far it's worked out pretty well.
And that's kind of how I fell into the commercial realm, because I already had a lot of relationships with local business owners from working at the radio station. And so when a lot of these personal lines carriers that we were getting those contracts with, a lot of them would say, hey, do you want us to also turn on or open up that commercial aspect for you? And now from here, actually this year, we were just awarded the Commercial Teamwork Award from our back office in May at our big annual convention. So I was so excited about that.
Awesome.
And I asked him after that, I said, because we're not huge in commercial. I'd say it really is only about 20-30% of our overall book. We're heavy personal lines, home and auto. But she did say, you guys have already grown so much with commercial. We've taken on more carriers and we've grown that book. So I am very proud of that. And like Mark said, we're able to help lots of different commercial businesses, different industries. We've seen it all. We've got some other non-standard, I guess it is considered, or excess and surplus lines where we can find something for anyone. We've got a gentleman that owns an RV park. We've got another guy that helps
I was going to say, what's the
custom
weirdest thing maybe you think?
I had a gentleman that put together a Tooth Fairy museum at White Oaks Mall as a history project, and we needed coverage, general liability for
That's
that.
hilarious.
Good luck asking a carrier, something about that, and them not think you're, pulling their leg.
Yeah.
It's like, no, we really got a Tooth Fairy collection here that we need to insure.
It's a museum.
Jeez, that's wacky.
I've
Was
got
he just collecting his kids'
Another
teeth
gentleman
there, or?
that just, I think it's been a family thing. He had the whole basement full of different fun items.
Right? I mean,
But-
between, that,
Is it
people with
just
airplanes,
Tooth Fairy
boats.
stuff?
Yeah,
think
lots
so.
of little tooth
Not
fairy
like
pillows.
teeth.
No, but everything related, little figurines and little pillows.
Oh, so for
But,
people
yeah.
to use.
And
Trinkets
then we just
stuff.
had
For the
another.
Tooth Fairy to use.
Yes, yeah,
Okay.
they leave that behind, so they'll sign an autograph or whatnot.
That's
Yeah.
hilarious.
I mean, we've seen
Tooth
it all.
fairies.
They're in White Oaks Mall right now?
Yeah, I think it just ended in August or
Oh.
September. It was
It was like a
over the summer.
temporary thing.
He was actually going to school for getting his history degree, and so it was kind of a school project. But we just had a gentleman call that said that he needed general liability. Once you try to return something to Amazon, if it's beyond the 90-day return, then he'll actually go out and pick that said item up, and this other company tries to almost sell it for him, resell, and he's kind of that middleman. But literally, you just never know. We're going to get calls, and it's kind of the crack of the week. Which one are we going to get this week? But we can always find some sort of carrier. Like I said, you might have to go to those excess and surplus lines. Another thing that we offer that I really love offering is pet insurance. Our Gunner, our Chesapeake Bay Retriever, torn ACL, should have
very
been
expensive. My mom just spent. What did she end up spending? She had to send she has a toy golden doodle, and she had to send it over because some things it's so small, and she ended up spending $6,000 or something crazy.
That's just what it is. It's crazy.
This one should have been shy of about $3,000, and we ended up spending $400 out of pocket by having him covered.
That
Now,
is
granted,
nuts.
it's just like anybody else in health insurance. You're going to pay monthly,
Oh yeah.
but it's going to be there when you need it. And a lot of times,
We we see that all the time. Like my dog ate a sock, or he got, something lodged in their intestines, and rather than, going to the emergency vet and, paying $500 just to walk in the door, something like that is covered. And
ours was awesome too, because even beyond the actual surgery, we got to go out to Pleasant Plains, and the dog did some hydrotherapy.
Ooh.
He was swimming in a
I think
warm
I saw that
saltwater pool.
on your Facebook or something.
He looked like he was enjoying it. And so that and some laser treatment to help with that healing process, all of that was covered. So
That's hilarious.
anyway, it's just, we always say, if you own it, we can insure it, because we can literally find a policy for you. And in addition to the personal lines, the home and auto, and the commercial, the business insurance, and the pet insurance, and of course life insurance, we are
Sure
so
it
excited to officially, you're hearing this here for the first time, we now offer health insurance as
Really?
well.
Wow.
And it's a very
Health
simple.
insurance is such a pain in the ass,
it's
man.
horrible.
And that's-
Jessica and I, what we went through last year, like trying to figure it out. It's like, do you go through the marketplace? Do you find somebody independent? How much is it going to cost? What do you make? It's like,
That's
Jesus
why we
Christ.
have just sat out and decided not to do it.
Oh yeah, so
And-
we brought on so one of our actual auto carriers now has a wing, right, that just dedicated to health, and so they've got a massive department that, rather than calling the marketplace, because it's one of the only industries that's not federally regulated.
I feel like it's something needs to be done.
it's a
so messed
crapshoot.
up. People are having to pay so much money, and then
Big
geez.
pharma money, man. I mean, you've seen it. It's like they're not curing diseases, right? All they're doing is raising prices of pills, and then that
Yeah.
raises everybody else's health
taking
insurance.
advantage of all the sick people.
Yeah, you got to watch out for the man, right?
Jeez.
Well, unless you have like a dedicated health person, it really is just too much,
Get
especially
lost.
for our
You
office.
get
We don't want to
lost.
be,
Yeah.
a master of none. But with this,
It's crazy because you make more money, and then you got to pay more in health insurance. It's like,
Right,
it's
just
kinda
counter,
wacky.
and that's exactly where it is. I mean, Illinois just keeps going up, and
It's a tough thing, though, 'cause it's like, what do you some people want to give free, which sounds great, but then like, how's that getting paid for? Is like so many things that I feel like need to be worked out there.
It's a gray area for sure. It's trying to tote that line and figure out what's best for you, what's best for your family. One person could pay $1,200 a month, but then they add a kid or a wife, it's like $10 more. Who can explain that?
And we signed up. When we signed up, so let me tell you what we went through. Let me see if I could describe this clearly. So we signed up, and Bricks, our son Bricks, was supposed to be on my wife's insurance, and then she called because she wasn't getting charged for the labor or whatever when we had him. Mm-hmm. And then had him switched he was on my insurance, and then she had him switched, and then he ended up being switched back, and we were getting bills from all over, and I'm like, what is going on? They're literally charging both of us.
Yeah.
And I'm like, is this going to get worked out in the end, or are we just going to get screwed? Because you don't know.
Yeah.
You've gotten bills from the hospital. They're just coming in all over the place.
And
I mean, literally one time I got a check for $1,200 back from the hospital because they overbilled me over the course of 2 years or
That's a good
something.
day.
That's actually, I've never heard that happening. So
I know.
congratulations.
I'm like, does this actually happen? Or
Yeah.
did I just get lucky here? Are they keeping track that close?
Exactly. Are they going to call and want this back in a month? Oh, we didn't mean to send that to you. And it's literally, I mean, it's unexplainable. It's crazy.
I just think we're excited because we really try to be that one-stop shop.
Mm-hmm.
We want to be able to be a solution for all of your insurance
Easy.
needs. And with so many people I shouldn't say that many people, because a lot of people do get the insurance through their employer, but we have the question asked. And the last thing I want to say is, well, I don't know, you can call this 800 number. So it's nice to know. We've already had a few clients that have actually gone through this process. They said it was super simple and easy and affordable, and it was all done over the phone and handled well. And then we've got access to it, so we can at least help point them in that right direction. But in addition to all those other product lines I just mentioned, we also do have an alliance and can offer investments. So retirement planning, college savings, 401ks. We have a certified financial planner that meets with our clients. So we really try to be that one-stop shop for all of our clients.
I know Christine says that, we get a lot of the oddballs and a lot of the hard stuff, but I want to reiterate here that we do love, just the general home and auto, the easy stuff too. Okay? So I know
Please bring that.
You may not have, 15 different kids with, 27 different vehicles. We like the one
easy.
home, two autos kind of stuff too.
And I will say that really makes us stand out. Mark, tell us a little bit about home and auto and your background, the way that he really does make it an educational process.
Well, really, there's not much to say on that aspect, except for my background in claims really solidified the fact that people need education. You'll never come to my office and we'll just sell you a policy. It's not one size fits all. We take it the extra mile. We make sure that we're covering your home correctly. We're going to let you know how we came about that number. We're going to let you know endorsements that you may need and some that you may not. But we're going to let you make that decision. But that way, come claim time, we'll say that we had talked about that. You're 100% covered. Don't worry. Or hey, we elected not to get that coverage. So really, it's just about going that extra mile, making sure that the person is comfortable, making sure that they know what they have. Because come claim time, that's the worst day you've had in years. Could be your life. And I want to be the person that you call and I say, don't worry about it. We'll get it taken care of. Right. You're 100% covered. Because
we've remember we talked about this. This is why we put this coverage on there, that sort of thing. But yeah, I really like to say I pride ourselves on that. Just so many people do say, gosh, he really just took that extra few minutes. Or Jordan, our personal lines manager, she's been with us a little under 2 years, and Mark has trained her. And
she helped me the other day. She's
huge
very
asset
helpful
to the team. Thank you. And just I really do feel like she has learned from Mark and has make sure she goes out of her way to explain these extra details. And then one other product line or item that I wanted to mention that Mark specializes in is with landlord or rental dwelling policies. We are sponsors of the Springfield Area Landlord Association, and so he's got lots of different investors that he takes care of. So he could explain a little bit about that.
Well, I mean, that's just the general. That's just kind of every agent, follows in a niche, and that, in correlation with the rest of our office and what they do, I just kind of fell into that, right? We're going to the Landlord Association, sponsors, members. Now we've actually solidified 2 contracts that we're going to be the only carrier within about 150 miles that will have access to them. It's built around landlords for landlords. So that's just something that we're excited about. But overall, I mean, the way we're trying to, transition this agency is, one, we want to get out there and meet the people, right? We're trying to take tips and tricks from you on marketing and really help other business owners. It's fun to get out in the community. It's fun to collaborate with local small businesses. Tell me, we kind of get lonely sometimes,
Well, you guys are definitely out there. I mean, you guys are doing all kinds of stuff. It's awesome. I see it for sure. What you guys just did some sort of what was the live stream thing? We were kind of telling me about it earlier. I heard you talking about it. It was the
conference.
You had won, or they'd asked you to talk about. What was that?
Yeah, so our back office, our master agency, SIAA, that's kind of like a national aggregator, if you will, and we are members of VIAA, which is out of St. Louis. And so they invited us to speak on this national conference SIAA hosted in September. It's called the IA Evolve Conference. It was the first of its kind where they actually tried to set it up as a webinar. And it said, doors open at 9 a.m., which is like when they would allow viewers in. They did have a
Start the webcast or whatever.
They said that 3,000 people actually signed up to participate, or that's how many attendees were on that day. But they had a couple national speakers, but then also they had a small business panel, the panelists, and we were one of the 4. And they just really had us focus on getting online reviews and that social media content and videos. And those were kind of like our areas, I guess, of expertise, which it's funny because, you don't really feel like we're doing anything out of the ordinary or anything crazy. But it's just
some
something.
People just don't, and I've said this before, you just got to get in front of the camera, and some people just don't want to do it. They're not comfortable with it. I mean, we have a lot of customers that, we try to get them in front of the camera and they just don't want to do it. But when they do, even if they don't think it's great, it ends up, it ends up doing really well. The videos almost always perform better. So that's awesome that you guys are taking the time to do that and making a point to, for sure.
Yeah, we always just tell people that you just have to be consistent. So start somewhere and then keep at it and do something. Definitely. And then kind of build from there.
It gets easier. I mean, when we look back.
For sure.
You remember your
people
first video.
People wonder how I do it. I'm like, I just jump in front of there and talk and whatever.
But how you usually do jump in. I love it. He's like, right into the peers.
So Tommy, tell us, probably your first video, man. If you look back on that now, you just smack your forehead.
Well, I was like cutting it, you know what I mean? Like, do it again.
Exactly.
Now I'm just like, here we go. This is what's happening. And if I mess up, I usually sometimes will redo it, but I try to run with it and just whatever.
And that's what we do. So when we have clients in that, we'll either come do a testimonial or whatever, like, oh, you can edit this, right? I'm like, yeah, but you can't just chop one word in the middle and then bring it back in. And I'm like, we're not that good. We're not Pixar. But we were looking back at our
take 20 years off of my face.
Exactly. Right. Yeah. 20 pounds at least. But we were looking back at our first video we ever did about 3 years ago, and you could just see our eyes moving, reading scripts, and we're just standing there still as possible.
Yeah.
And I always try to get people to not not use scripts when possible. It's kind of you could just tell it's kind of scripted, and it's like
you could literally see our eyes moving, and to this day I just cringe thinking about it and looking at it. But I mean, if anything, it just, I always say get comfortable with being uncomfortable if you want to make it in business.
We just try to pride ourselves as being kind of like a new age insurance agency, and so actually we were also awarded just last year as Agency of the Future through our back office. And what that means is our phone number does receive text messages. You can actually go to our website and get a quote.
I still need that information from you, Mark.
Oh, yes. That's coming up.
You can go to our website to request a quote. You can go on our website and find your customer portal. But that being said, probably like 80% in a very high number don't even come into our office. Mm-hmm. We can take all the quotable information over the phone. Then if you decided to move forward with it, we can send a DocuSign, have you sign right there on your own cell phone. We can take payment information over the phone.
We can send you a video quote if you'd like. If it's more complicated, right? A lot of people, you may
video yourself talking them about it.
And so, I mean, it's really because you think nobody reads our lengthy emails about why you need, higher liability limits. And so
Jordan sent me one, and I was like,
can we just
come in there and let's compare these side by side?
And so that's the hard part. I mean, when you get employees, trying to get them to adapt, right, to your social media efforts, trying to get them in front of the camera.
Jordan loves the camera,
right? and so that's really where we were trying to turn a page by you can do a screen share and make a video, and I'm telling you about your proposal. That way, you may get home at 5, but your significant other may not get home until 8. So you could just text them the link, and then it's good to go from there.
Sure.
But since so many clients don't actually come into our office, then we do try to constantly stay in front of them. So when they become clients, we send them like a welcome email that has a welcome video that's just like a, hey, meet the team, here's us, in case you didn't actually come in and meet us. Now you're seeing us on camera. We invite them to like our social media pages so we can kind of stay in front of them that way.
Yeah.
We've got all sorts of different asks for reviews and a report card to ask them to grade us and sending you referrals our way. And they're always a video, whether it's like a little tutorial of explaining something or just being like, hi, we're real people and we could really use your help. Like your review, your referral, they do matter, and they really do help kind of grow our own small family business.
Yeah.
So
a lot of people don't have many reviews, and really all it takes is a good ask.
Yeah. And that blew my mind when we first, really started going after our friends and family, and people we see out that we don't necessarily haven't had the opportunity to earn their business. I'm like, hey, can we have that opportunity? And more often than not, people will say, I was just waiting for you to ask. And it just blows my mind.
It's kind of like asking for the sale during a sales
right?
pitch.
and that's it. So it's like, I'm like, wow, I mean, I guess we'll just start doing that. And it's worked phenomenal. I mean, literally, I'm like, hey, can I have the opportunity to try to earn your business? Well, sure.
Right. It doesn't cost anything.
Exactly. I just think most people, either assume that, either, growing, or getting busy or what have you. But I think that's the good and the bad of social media, right? It may portray that, things are going crazy and you can't take on more business, but you're always wanting to look for the next person you can help. Yeah,
I would just like to say though that with us, because we try to have such a strong social media presence, that's why we jumped into video. We did want to stay in front of our viewers. We do feel like you can tell a better story, and that's why I always tell all of our clients or friends about you and OOT Media.
Definitely appreciate
and
that.
just what you guys
even
do.
This morning, a couple people said that, if Christine's recommending you, so.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah,
Well,
definitely.
seriously, I mean, that we're just over here, just insurance agents trying to get by, get our name out there using an iPhone. We know you guys
Well,
have...
you guys, even besides social media, geez, you guys are at all kinds of community events, I see. And I mean, you guys are out there. And it's got to be hard with the new kid. You guys got some help from the parents to help watch
that
and stuff
first
sometimes.
year, I'd say we were at something like literally every weekend or every other. We were just trying to always be out there. But yeah, you're right. The second year, once we had the baby, you got to pick and choose where you're going to be. So now, this third year in business, we are kind of a little choosier about the things that we go out to and support. But
is that what it is? Is it your third year?
Yeah.
And that's awesome. Because I remember we almost because I went to you, I had been in business, but I wasn't really in business. I was in my bedroom.
And we were still
working at my
where did you meet
home
us at?
office.
The Cookie Mill.
He met us on the
Mill,
second floor of a giant building. The carpets were green. I think the walls were some sort of chalk
road.
gray.
Still a good first office for you guys.
Exactly. But just look at this now. Now we're sitting in front of in your
started from the bottom. Now we're here.
we're sitting in the middle of this baller office with Andrew, and I mean, this place is amazing. So this is kind of
appreciate
where all the
that.
magic happens.
It's been a lot of
here.
work.
Yeah.
I've been wanting to make a video. Actually, I have like so many old pictures and video of like this place before I did anything to it. You know,
Right.
painted and just got stuff in here.
Oh
I've
my
been
goodness, we
meaning
need
to
to
do
do
that.
We've got so many millions of things we've been meaning to do too.
Yeah, the
So
list
it's
is
like-
endless.
Yeah, I would go back to my list. Like even today, I was looking. She sent me something. I asked her like, "Hey, let's put this on the website." You know, one night at like 11, and she sent it to
Well,
me
he
today.
loves emailing at 11 p.m. Let me tell you.
My brain doesn't stop. Man.
Yeah.
It's hard. It's hard to shut it off,
I
man.
know I was sick yesterday, and I'm sitting there trying to sleep, and I'm just like, I can't.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just, you know what I mean?
So
I'm like,
much
so
to
many
get done.
things. I know people are. You hear at the studio working, and I need to be getting stuff done. And
You guys are brand new babies, so six months.
and that was, you know, I struggled with that a lot because, so Thursdays was supposed to be my day to watch the baby. I was like, my day to stay home. Jessica, she only works 3 days a week now. And then her sister and mom watch each on a day, and Thursday was supposed to be my day.
Can we just take a moment and say thank you to the families?
Yeah.
Because
Without
literally,
them, we
my
would
gosh.
not be here.
They save us a lot of money, and, you know, a lot of worry.
yeah,
Yes.
same.
But yeah, no, Thursdays was supposed to be my day, and I loved being home with them, but it was just like my anxiety was going crazy because I can't just sit there. Like I would sit there and like, you know what I mean? It was good for like 3 hours, and then I would just like, my anxiety would start building up. Like I need to be doing this, I need to be doing this, and there's just my mind just doesn't stop.
I think
it sucks sometimes.
It's going to get easier, right? Because that was me, like trying to adjust to. I never knew I was going to become a dad. I mean, you always think about it, right? But I
Right.
mean, I think for guys, it's.
I gave
you
him
know,
a heads up, by the way.
Yeah, a couple months. But what I mean, you know, for guys, it's we take it a little differently, right? It took me a couple months to really get used to, because I remember when the first time she left me alone with the baby one morning, like I think she either went to like a network event or
Right.
I was just like, so what do? I've got a million different emails, and I've got people calling me left and right, but I've got baby sitting here on my lap, and
Yeah.
I think now we almost embrace it, and you know, she's a little over a year and a half. And you know, I think she just you know, at this point she gets used to it.
I don't know what that is.
I think our hot pockets are done. We got
Guess it's over.
yeah, lunch is
Yeah,
ready.
really
Yeah,
sounds
lunch.
like a microwave
Yeah,
or something.
lunch is done.
Yeah, I mean, that's just us at work. You know, 4:30, you're looking at the clock thinking, okay, I got to get out of here at 5 because we got to go home and relieve the babysitters, the grandparents. And, you know, you've got quite the list. And so often, especially before baby, Mark and I would sit there at the office till 7 or 8 o'clock at night, or we'd take it home and finish it at our home office.
Yeah.
And since she's came into the picture, we have to just table it. And you have to just say, and then once we get home, you know, same thing. We used to go home and just talk nothing about work. And now it's like, you got to shift gears. You got to talk about family. You got to spend that time on family, because when you wake up tomorrow morning, work is going to be there. And I am proud of us. I think that we have evolved to that.
This year it's been hard, right? Our biggest promise to each other was you know, to say no sometimes. I think that,
Yeah.
you know, as a business owner, right, you want to be
It's
available 24/7, and you want
Jeez,
to.
I feel like people are asking me to do stuff all the time too,
Right, like
especially
sponsor
with
this.
like my general skill set. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
not, you know, family, and I love to do stuff. I wish I could just do stuff for everybody all the time, and
Yep.
all the people that ask for stuff, like, oh, can you do a quick picture or this and that? And everybody thinks it's quick. You
Yeah.
know, it's like,
And you have editing and all sorts of time behind the
Yeah.
scenes.
It's like
We-
having a truck, right?
we
Oh,
only
you
have
can help
so
me
much
move.
team. Yeah, exactly.
We've had a lot of people recently just ask us, if you want to come to these networking events or be on this board or
yeah.
thing. And that's where
We want to.
had to just kind of say no. I help out with the Land of Lincoln Honor Flight. I love that. Mark's a Marine. We have,
What is that
huge-
exactly? I
huge-
saw you guys post something about that.
Yeah, we're huge veteran supporters, so we kind of fell into it. A friend hooked
Well,
us
you
up.
were in the
Marine Corps.
right?
Yep.
Okay.
So the Land of Lincoln Honor Flight, basically they fly the World War II, Korean, and Vietnam veterans out to Washington, D.C. for the day right here out of Springfield. Round trip, one day
Oh, wow.
to see the monuments that were built in their honor.
Geez,
The
one day.
Yeah,
a lot.
Mark goes out there and helps them get loaded up with the rest of the board members.
About 3:30 in the morning, pre-flight.
So they leave
Yes,
about
good old
4:30.
Springfield Airport.
Yeah, so they leave about 4:30 in the morning. They don't land until 9:30 p.m. If you guys have not been out there for one of these welcome home events,
I saw
Amazing.
some
They
of your
have-
pictures.
It's amazing. Hundreds and hundreds of patrons from around the state, literally, and then they're showing up, and kids in buses, you know, from different high schools, and just cheering on a lot of these gentlemen and ladies.
So wait, they're at the Springfield Airport welcoming them home.
yeah,
Yep.
so
So
9:30 p.m.
They're not out there at 3:30 in the morning. Though,
I'm
are
out
they?
there at 3:30 in the morning, right? Just packing. We're helping everybody get on the plane, because there's a lot of older people, you know, that need help with wheelchairs and whatnot,
Right,
and so
right.
it makes for a long day.
Yeah, so the whole purpose is to fly those veterans for free, and then they could sign up and have a guardian come along with them, or we've got freelance guardians, or like even yourself, you could fill out a guardian application and just kind of be on call or ready if a veteran submitted their application and did not have a guardian to go with them. But there's lots of fundraising efforts in Central Illinois. Now, the land of the honor flight themselves, like there is a St. Louis hub, there is a Chicago hub. There's, I think, like 11 different ones in the state of Illinois. Don't quote me on that. But we do have quite a large area of Central Illinois. And so there's been lots of fundraising efforts. They've been around now for 10 years. I just got involved in April or May. They kind of got two for the price of one. Mark and I both
that's what she told him.
out. So. He goes out and helps flight day, and then that evening with the welcome home event, and then I help as their secretary. But the welcome home event is super cool, and you can follow their Facebook page, and you can kind of see this next one. The last one of the year is October 29th, and then there'll be 6 in 2020. But just come out there and see it, and you'll just like, your faith in humanity will be restored to see. And these guys really just do appreciate, like they need that thank you and welcome home, because they didn't get it when they came back from Vietnam. They got spit on.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of them don't even think that they should be allowed to take the flight. And so it's just humbling, and it's super cool to see. So anyway, we're happy to be a part of it.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, I saw, like I said, seen some of that on your Facebook page, but so I got to ask, how is it working together as a couple? I've always wondered about that. People are like, well, can't you get Jessica to just help you out or something, doing a couple things? I'm like, I don't know if that would be a good idea. Pretty much for our marriage.
It takes a lot of getting used to. I think in the beginning it was like, let's figure out our roles. And once we figured out our roles in the agency, it got a lot easier, because it was like both of us were trying to be, everything to the business at once, and just kind of stepping on each other's toes. And once we figured out, like, she's got her niche, and she deals straight with commercial and office managerial stuff, and I don't get in her way, and pretty much it's so weird. At night I'll be like, hey, so how was your day? And she literally sits 10 feet from me.
Right.
Like, what did you do today?
Well, at least you're not in the same office.
I was just going to say, at least we have our own offices. We can kind of close the door and just kind of get our stuff done. But Mark's absolutely right. With him being personal lines and kind of the landlord expert, me with commercial management and marketing, we do kind of keep things separate. Now, of course, we're always like asking each other for one another's opinion. But
I mean, you still get in those same arguments. Like, I didn't want, chicken breast for lunch today, and she brought it anyway. And so, so
you're gonna eat that.
Why did you bring this?
Yeah, I told you I didn't want those leftovers. Dang it. Yeah, or the dog comes to the office like, hey, why didn't you take the dog out? To go to the bathroom. And so you're gonna get the same stuff.
Literally from the very beginning, though, we've been bringing Gunner, our Chesapeake Bay Retriever, to the office, and then now that we've got Carliana, the baby, so same thing. We thought maybe she'd come to the office a little bit more than what she has, but we got in a groove with the grandparents watching her, and obviously can't get a lot done.
Yeah, zero work done with babies in the office.
But if you watch some of our videos, or if you follow our social media, you'll see the baby, you'll see the dog. It really is a family affair, and so we really can't imagine it any other way that to be able to build this and have this as our own and be able to give it to her.
I think that's it. You're really, once you're going for one goal, right? And it's, to be, independence, freedom, not having to deal with the political stuff that corporates come with. Everybody's had that corporate job that.
Well, it's nice to know the work that you put in, you reap the reward from that work, so the harder you work, the more the reward.
And it's not the same thing every day. I think that's the best part. Like when I was at corporate and claims, it was in the same 4 tabs, hello, goodbye, see you later. And, it was boring. And now I think, with this, I can say that if anything, it's not boring. It's very, very busy. And there's always something.
Well, it's interesting. One thing I've really came to appreciate is once you have the money to do it, to pay somebody to do what they're good at. Mm-hmm. So I was doing all my accounting for the most part for a while, except for the end of the year, and finally I was just like, I got to pay somebody to do this. You know what I mean? I can use that time to do what I need to do. And there's just so many people that don't let go of certain things. Yep. And it took me a while to do that. You know what I mean? And it's just like, there's people that are good at that and they're going to do it more efficiently, and it's going to cost you a little bit, but it's just interesting. That's one of the big pieces of advice I do give to people. It's like learn to delegate as much as you can.
That's so
it's
hard though.
to let go.
I mean, how hard was that? I mean, for
you just want to
me,
control,
Yeah.
everything as the owner, and it's your business and your reputation, and it's
For sure, that was us with hiring somebody in our office. And so with Jordan, she had only been on with us for 3 months when we had the baby, and literally we didn't leave the hospital for several days, didn't step foot in the office. She helped, run the show. Obviously, we were behind the scenes if she needed us, but you really learned right then and there, like, we can trust her and she's got this. And then there's been so many things that we were doing on our own in terms of service or, as far as like onboarding. And so we finally pulled the trigger earlier this year and also added Christina, our client service representative, CSR, client relations manager, actually. And so she does help with a lot of that, service work and onboarding and things that you're exactly right. We needed to be able to free up our time.
And it's tough trying to figure out the right time to do it too.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because you don't want to get too overloaded, but you want to be prepared to keep growing. And
it takes a while to find that right person and get them trained. So you're absolutely right. You almost have to do it a little bit sooner than what you're wanting to.
So when you find them, it's like, yeah, let's go.
Right. I think it was always, the way we know when it's time to hire is when we see money in our bank account. Right. And inevitably it's like, oh, hey, look, we're finally making some money but we're overloaded again. We need to hire. We need to do what's right. And that's because, as a business owner, every hire is an investment. Even if they don't work out, you're looking like you probably just wasted $10,000,
right.
With time, training, and computers and equipment.
Yeah. And it's tough too. Like I've had a couple people who I brought on and, it just didn't, it just didn't work out. Whether it was somewhat my fault or the wrong time, I made the wrong decision to bring them on, and I just didn't have enough time to invest in them at that point in time. But
that's the hardest part.
It's tough being the business owner sometimes.
Right. It's like holding yourself accountable to say, okay, I'm actually going to sit down with you today and train you. I think that was the hardest part, right? Because I'm already set in my groove. I've got a full calendar every day, no matter
all
what.
the stuff that needs done.
And I'll just do it myself, where I need to step back and train.
Yeah, it could take 15, 20 minutes for me to go up and explain that, or I could just knock it out in 2 minutes. And I'm like, no. Carve out the time. Yes. You've got to be able to.
We are paying them.
Train that person.
It's an interesting thing to deal with.
But I think you're right. Like everybody just needs to see what they're good at and then try to let go of those other things or delegate those other things or find somebody else to do them. And that's, I think, where kind of the magic can happen.
Yeah. Because even with our business, everything we do, I've had experience in. So I was able to do it all at first, like photography, graphic design, videography, sales, and just all the social media. So I had all the experience in all these different realms. And now, like, most people don't have experience in all of the different things. So it's like trying to find somebody for each one. Right. It's like, are you going to be able to keep them busy in that specific area? Luckily, I've been able to find, a couple people that do a little bit of, dabble in a couple areas or are good in a couple areas. So that's definitely helped too.
That's what they always say, hire to your weakness, right? And that's, what we try to look for, and like the next person we're trying to bring on. Right now, we're trying to hire a commercial lines person, just because Christine doesn't have the time.
Is this an official job post?
Yeah, I was just going to say that.
If you're out there, we're looking for you.
Yes, exactly. Well, we have been growing the commercial realm, like we talked about, and so we really would like to have somebody be able to focus on that entirely. And then since my background is marketing and advertising, and that's really kind of my passion. And then not to mention, this is our business. So what better person, than me or Mark to be out there and trying to drive traffic back in or drive business back in. And so that's really what I want to be able to do to my full potential, and then have somebody else head up the commercial. Yeah. So that's something, yes, officially, we are looking to hire in 2020.
All right, there's the official job posting.
Yeah. You heard it here first, right?
And indeed,
do I get a hiring commission or something?
You will, definitely. Yeah. Anybody, I'm more than willing to give out a finder's fee to anybody that brings us a qualified candidate.
What I got to ask you, just because it's coming up on the 1st, how are you guys preparing for the whole legalization and being able to insure people with that? Are your insurance people talking about that? Just for people that don't know, Illinois is legalizing recreational marijuana, and it's definitely going to start being interesting for what the different business owners, how they prepare. Everybody should be preparing for it in one way or another, even like us on a marketing side, like what are we going to be able to do? What are the limitations, for as businesses open up?
Well, not even that, like hiring, right? I mean, let's say if somebody gets hurt on the job, right? Are they going to be subject to a drug test, like after that? So there's a lot of legalities that are getting, looked at. We're definitely pro, medicine, and, anybody that needs it to cure, keep their anxiety down or what have you.
Right.
I mean, it's, it's not a gateway drug. But as far as the insurance goes, like I couldn't be more excited to have another niche open.
Do your carriers, like, have you reached out to them, or do they reach out to you? They're like, hey, you're in Illinois. We're gonna how's that work?
So there's a couple of niche carriers, right? I mean, just like you have a carrier that wants, social media experts, there's carriers out there now that want to insure the building, but they don't want to insure the contents, because you got to think that place burns down, right? I mean, how many hundreds of thousands of dollars in pot do they have?
Like a dispensary or something?
Yep, exactly. And so you got to think, okay, this carrier will do the building, but this carrier will do the contents. How do we merge that? But that was actually a niche that we were looking to try to grow in, right? Because I mean, cannabis industry is a big money making industry.
Yeah, and I mean, it's just a matter of time before everywhere. And I mean, they just passed. What was it, 2 weeks ago? I think Congress passed a bill to allow banks to start taking money. So I assume that'll just be a domino effect to allowing insurance carriers. And
because that was the thing, how do they pay, right? And so you can't really do electronic funds transfer because they're not supposed to have that money in a bank, right? And so it's still federally illegal, and so there is just a lot of gray tape. But I mean, I feel like if we're on the forefront of this movement, right, we can like learn the industry and hopefully become somebody that a lot of these business owners are looking at. Because I don't see any other agencies, definitely in Springfield, having the know-how or the the passion to want to help that industry.
Yeah, well, you guys seem like you're in a good position to kind of be on the forefront of that a little bit.
Yeah, we currently have carriers that do offer coverage on the CBD, and so those carriers are getting ready to open it up for the actual cannabis. And I just think that since it's newly released to Illinois, it's like every carrier. Like I've got a contractor carrier that they are getting ready to just turn it on for the state of Illinois. So they may already offer coverage in, X and Y states,
just
but not Illinois. So I think it's the same concept that now that they see, everybody's just racing to get everything worked out to where it's going to be available January 1st.
Yeah,
interesting.
And it's just like it's a classification code, right? Just like anything, they're going to try to assess the risk. Is it subject
and then gouge you as much as possible.
And of course, you're making this amount of money, we must charge you this amount of money. And
new areas, it seems like
they're scary. New things are.
Which
scary.
Actually, I was surprised. The insurance you guys got for me wasn't worse. More expensive just because licensed drone pilot, managing people's social medias. I could see a lot of potential risk there, and really it's not that expensive.
Drones are so scary. So drones to insurance companies,
whoa, they're not that scary. They're very smart, and the person flying them
in the right hands. Yes, in the right hands, they are amazing tools, right? But unfortunately, 80% of the people out there are playing with them and crashing them into their neighbor's car or their neighbor's
the problem
windows.
Is you always have that one person or two people that just ruin it for everybody. I hate that so much. It's so frustrating.
Flying them up and spying on people getting out of the shower.
And stuff. I hate that so much. It's just people ruin it for everybody.
Well, just a lot of the policies say right on them that they don't have coverage for the unmanned aircraft. Is the way that they list it.
Yeah, a lot of like homeowners. Some homeowners policies will say that just because where's the liability stop? If your kid crashes that drone into a window or hits the kid's neighbor's kid, right, and messes up their face. I mean, you're looking at a massive lawsuit right there, and how is that going to be covered? And there's just still so many questions. Like, okay, how do we cover this? Is this liability? Is this property damage? Which way we're going to go? And so when there's just a lot of up in the air, red tape questions, then it's just it's kind of
when it comes to
difficult.
Any higher dollar item, we always want to say that you want to actually list that item out, not just do like a blanket coverage. And so that's both for business and personal. And then even personal, you could even take it so far as getting a personal articles policy, specifically for jewelry,
drones, and high value camera equipment, stuff like that too. She's talking about. But I think going back to Definitely the cannabis industry here. I'm looking forward to the first and figuring out how, one, this is going to help. We're huge advocates, of the veteran use of cannabis for,
Right.
PTSD, right? Things like fibromyalgia and
Yeah,
whatnot.
I know over at Simply CBD, they get, we have guys coming in there that just, this one guy has a dog, and he gives it to him and his dog is a rescue dog, and he's a veteran, and he's all messed up, and he just comes in there and hangs out. He loves it. He loves talking with everybody. Talks all the time about how much it helps him, and it's just it's so awesome to hear.
I went in there to Simply CBD with my mom just a month ago, right? And I think there was another gentleman in there that was talking about a veteran and how it helped. And I know that it's I've been to 2 different wars, and my back and my body are kind of broken and bended, and that stuff I can attribute that to really helping. So I'm just excited to, after the first, hopefully they're going to open up the market. They're going to open up more testing. CBD stores mixed with anything else or what have you.
Yeah.
I think as long as it's curing anxiety and pain, and it's not causing any other issues, everybody's all for it.
For sure. Well, yeah, it'll definitely be interesting to see how that develops for you guys, because I think it's going to be a lot of opportunity for a lot of different businesses. It's interesting though, because so Facebook and Google, we handle all the marketing for Simply CBD, and Facebook and Google won't let us run ads.
Really?
So we have to come up with all these weird ways to advertise on social media.
Wow.
I've even said to them, if Facebook would let us do our thing, you guys would probably be doing triple your business right now.
Right?
They're
they're all about making money. Everybody says it's for the client, for the experience of, getting to meet people around the world. But let's be honest, it's a business. They're taking advertising dollars left and right.
You guys are able to do giveaways, right? That's how...
Yeah, we run giveaways, and so instead of one of the big things we did is we just gave away $1,100.
I saw that.
I don't think it was cash. I think it was, I don't think we're allowed to give away cash. I think it was like Visa gift cards.
Okay.
But we were like, well, if we were going to spend this money on Facebook anyway, let's just give it to the customers and have them share and post and like and comment and just let them get the money instead of giving it to Facebook, which is kind of interesting.
We gotta team up and do like a giveaway and kind of feature one another. We love doing those different giveaways, especially to promote the local businesses. But people get behind it. Followers. You wave a little free item, people get excited.
Oh, that's what we do. So anytime we get either a referral, like a client referral to our business or anything like that, we give gift cards to, and we make sure it's a local establishment. We think it's huge to give back to this community that we've embedded ourselves in.
For sure. Yeah, I've been thinking about like stuff we could do that I don't know, I just want to start doing something more. And I already probably don't have enough time. One thing I was thinking about, we actually started designing a logo for it, but I thought about doing like cameras for kids and doing maybe a week-long thing where if you book a video with us for us to produce a video, that money for that video would just go into a fund to buy cameras for kids. But that leads in all kinds of things, because then who are you giving them to? How do you select the kids? And then do they have a computer to hook it up to? Or, you know what I mean? So it turns into a big thing. It's almost better just to buy them a friggin' iPhone. But then it's, are they using it for the camera?
Exactly.
So figuring out some of those logistics, but that just is something that kind of ties in with us. But, so many kids are like, want to get on YouTube or make videos nowadays. It's like, it's just crazy.
We had done just during the back to school time, a giveaway for, Springfield's favorite teacher. And it really was just based on shares. We had hundreds and people were tagging their favorite teacher.
How many book bags and gloves did we give away to the Springfield schools last Christmas?
Well, the year before that, we had hosted a Santa's extravaganza shopping event. And so all the vendors that were in it, they helped, just to be in it, they actually helped buy the hats and gloves. And so they all paid $25, and then we went shopping. So we ended up with a whole carload of just gloves and hats and socks for one of the elementary schools here in Springfield. But I was just going to say, with that post with the back to school, we just kind of counted the number of votes for each teacher, and that was kind of how we picked it. So if you did do something like that, just kind of leave it up to the audience of saying my kid, or have them fill something out. They deserve it because of this, that, and the other.
Right.
And that's just what it's all about these days.
Because you definitely wanted to give it to somebody who obviously can't afford it. So I don't know. I've just been trying to think of a way to do something. You know what I mean? Just try to make some sort of difference. You know what I mean? Impact on a kid's life.
And it's like was always our gateway into figuring out what the actual community needed, and we just we asked Facebook and we said, teachers, what do these kids need, around this time of year? And surprisingly, it was coats and
or
gloves.
maybe like the cameras go to the schools. I don't know.
That way you could end up finding and that's what I was thinking, right? So somebody that said they were interested in photography.
There. Yeah, and our example was that 2 winters ago when we did give all of those hats and gloves to that school, they did say we're going to keep a handful of these just right here because you'd be you'd be shocked at how many people go home, leave them home, or they lose them or whatever. And so at least this way, when it's recess time, like they're good to go. So
I know I'm bad at looking at the weather, so
I'm sure I'll get plenty. I'm
sure I'll get plenty of calls from my son's teacher someday, like, why didn't you send him with a jacket?
Oh yeah. Oh man, I was trying to get my daughter dressed this morning, and it's a different kind of stress.
Let's see. What did my dad say last night? She looks like she's going to the ugly Christmas pajama party because she's always matching. Let me tell you.
Don't let dad dress.
I never dress my son right according to my wife.
I just keep her in her diaper, and I think that's fine until the age of 4.
It's the easiest, right? You can see the blue line.
Exactly.
I'll tell you what. We put some diapers. I don't remember what the brand was, but they didn't have that blue line, and I was like, "What kind of idiot?"
Right? I need this blue line. I was told there will be a blue line. Yeah.
It does not have an indicator on the diaper.
Yeah, because I think the blue line comes in the hospital, and that's like when new parent. That's the only thing is like hey, when they're wet, there will be a blue line, and I'm just looking all day.
Have to do just stick your finger down there.
Men are ridiculous.
Right? And I'm the old finger check, and it's horrible. I can't tell you how many when I literally looked at my wife the other day, I'm like, well, I'm smelling the kid's butt. I never thought that my life would come to this.
Pick up and sniff there.
Right. And it's just, and now it's just second nature. And I'm just like, well, if you'd have talked to me 3 years ago, I probably wouldn't have told you this was okay.
That's pretty funny. How old's your guys' daughter now?
1.5, 20 months, if we're counting months.
Crazy.
We're those people.
When did she start walking?
14
months.
It was a little after her first birthday. At her first birthday, she was doing the little walker thing. So I'd say it was like 2 months later.
So my wife and I were talking about this, Bricks hasn't really tried crawling much, or he actually was trying to crawl more 2 months ago than he is right now. But we were talking about, since he's a little bit bigger, it's probably harder for him to get it to crawl and to pull himself up and everything because he weighs more. Yeah. Was your daughter I know they give you those percentiles or whatever? Was she higher up there?
She wasn't really crawling all that much. She scooting on her, she did the same similar thing. She crawled for a little bit, and then she went to a little bit where she scooted on her butt.
A little army crawl.
Yeah.
But yeah,
drag
herself. She wasn't
fully
crawling till about 8 months. But yeah, I think we've always been kind of in that 80th, the higher percentile. Yeah. But this most recent checkup at her 18 months, she was 97 percentile for height. 94 percentile for weight.
You know what's weird is I hear every time I talk to somebody, I feel like everybody's in the 80 or 90 percentile, and I'm like, what are they just trying to make all these parents feel really good?
Right?
Oh, my kids, and me too.
Well, because our best friends have a daughter that's 4 months younger, and we were just talking about the same percentile situation, and they just had their 15-month appointment, and she was in the 60th percentile. So it does happen for height, for height, which they're both a little shorter, so that makes sense. But anyway, so yes, I've heard of the 60s.
Well, not only that, especially first-time parents. I feel like second, third, they're just they don't go in for minor sniffles or colds anymore. But these first-time parents, at least my wife, she's on the phone with telenurse every other day.
She has my allergies, and it's the season.
I'm worried that Bricks might have mine too.
I
never used to have them. Did you have them when you were younger?
Yeah, I had to get allergy shots.
I didn't. Really? I didn't have them until my late 20s. Now I don't know what's going on. I was literally, how did I develop?
And none of the pills or anything do anything for me. The only thing that ever did anything when I was 22 or whatever, I went to the allergy testing place, and I got tested, and they're they do all the thing. Have you ever done it?
Is that the needle prick one to figure out what you have allergies to?
Up and down your arm and everything.
I had to when I was a kid.
Yeah, and they went through the whole thing. They're like, nope, you're not allergic to anything. I'm like, really? Because my trash can at work is full of tissues, and I can hardly breathe. My eyes are popping out of my head.
Yep.
And then later got a $1,200 bill from them. But at that thing, they gave me some sort of steroid shot, and I was fine.
Really?
I was perfect for the whole year. And then the next couple of years, I would go in hey, can I get this same steroid shot? And they're like, well, your doctor hasn't recommended it. I'm like, well, I need it. Look at my face.
Your doctor's got to get paid, and the other person's got to get paid.
well, they didn't want to give it to me. So it's like a steroid, you know, or whatever. But I'm like, it's worth it to me. Whatever the harm is, trust me, it's worth it because I can't. Like, well, you think of us like I'm trying to shoot a video, and I'm like, you know, and it's just terrible.
You can edit that out, right?
Yeah. So eventually, they were just like, yeah, and then my primary doctor like retired, and they were like, yeah, you got to get a new primary doctor and get recommended or whatever. And I haven't done it, but I haven't been too bad lately.
Mark just tells everybody to drink the vitamin C packets. He just
carries those around. The emergency packets.
Yeah, and then brings them to work, and he's like, okay, everybody, fuel up. Nobody's getting sick around here.
I do that too. I was telling somebody, I'm like,
my God, he's got one
there
in his
it
pocket.
is. He's ready. I was telling somebody, I'm like, let me get your packet of emergency. And they're like, that's not doing anything. You don't need that much of
It's the
vitamin
best placebo
C.
in the world. Okay, so yeah, I feel like I tell myself,
I'm all for placebo
Yeah,
if it fixes it for
Fueling
sure.
Christina and Jordan. Nobody gets sick. Everybody just
I'd
pound
always-
vitamin C.
I would do the same thing, preach it to Jessica. And she's like, I don't need it. And then I just bring her a cup of it. I'm like, chug this.
yes, exactly.
Yeah.
I don't have time for you to be sick.
That's
Or we
funny.
just walk around with Lysol and wipes all around the office. Like if
Yeah.
anybody came in with any sort of sniffles, disinfecting everything. Don't
Ju-
bring these germs in here.
Jessica has been at home all day doing that exact same thing from me
disinfecting.
being homesick. She's calling me. I'm like, yesterday. And she's like, are you just coughing all over everything at home right now?
Oh no.
You gotta love it, man.
Tis the season, right?
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, I think we did about an hour there. Is there anything else that you guys want to put out there? I did kind of mess up. I was going to ask you this question at the beginning of the podcast and then wait for an answer at the end. But what I was going to ask, what would you say is the hardest thing about running your own business? You guys can have your own answers if you want. You don't got to be in sync.
I'm gonna say probably staying, motivated and trying to fight that inevitable burnout, because I don't care what you're doing. I mean, even if you're running a water park, and you're having the best time of your life, there's going to be a time where you're like, is this worth it? Because it's a grind, I mean, you're up all night, right? I'm stressing about making sure that there's food not only on my table, but all my employees' tables, right?
Mm-hmm.
Making sure that we're constantly doing the right thing. It's testing morals. It's testing everything you have to make it.
For sure.
And then just trying to get over that hump.
Yeah, it's a whole different thing where like the people working for you are relying on that paycheck too, and that comes before yours.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
every
Making
time,
sure that
every
it
time.
definitely
Right.
comes before
I
you.
would just say, to answer your question, just a couple of the things that we've already talked about today. And that is one, like knowing when to say no, kind of limiting yourself because you cannot pour from the empty bucket or the empty faucet is what they say. And so if you are just kind of yes to everything and trying to fill your plate with too much, then you end up being the master of none.
So
Right.
yeah. So jack of all trades.
Yeah,
master of
that's
none.
either Mark's little synonyms that he always uses that I try to steal. But that's just it. I just do. I feel like sometimes you just kind of got to get organized and say. And then the other thing is that delegating, aspect that we're talking about. Just that when you do start up, you do launch, and you do kind of want to be everything. And so being able to kind of delegate and letting people's strengths shine and
Figuring out
take
your
their-
reason why, I guess that would probably be your first, and then concentrating on that through the tough days because they're going to come.
Yeah.
And
Well, is
just
there anything else you guys
be
want to?
yourself, be you. Get out there.
For sure.
And represent yourselves. When we first opened and Mark had come from State Farm, he was kind of conditioned to present ourselves in that one way. And so, those first few videos when we were like, oh gosh, we look so silly. And just, you're always critiquing yourself. Like you're going to be,
Yes.
yes,
That's what
you're
it
always
was.
going to be your
Everybody asks me that when we're doing videos. What should I do with my hands? I'm like, just put them like this.
Yes, exactly. That'll probably get more views. So
That's so funny. But you're going to be your own biggest critic. Like, oh my gosh, my eyes keep moving. Like, what am I doing with my hands? That's weird. And so you just you got to suck it up. You got to get over it. And you just got to be you.
Yeah,
Yep.
for sure. Relax and go through it. So Bailey, what's your website? BaileyFamilyInsurance.com?
Yes.
Okay.
And then social media, Bailey Family Insurance. So follow us there, or our phone number you can find online. You can call or text us. Or we are over on 6th Street near Stevenson, right by Mellow Cream Donuts. So you can pop on in and see our beautifully remodeled office that we love as well.
Yes,
So
I was
whatever
just
works
over
for
there
you.
the other day for the first time. It looks really nice in there.
Appreciate
I
it.
love the new
you.
sign.
Thank you.
Who
very
did
much.
that again?
So Rich Core Designs. It's
Yeah.
like a 3 3-layered metal sign.
Yeah,
I
it's
think
cool.
it weighs like 80 pounds.
Does it? He did a good job on it. It looks neat.
So
Yeah.
we just figured that's like a focal point, right? That we do a lot of our videos
for
in front of.
sure.
So it took about 3 years to pull the marketing dollars together and grab it, and we're in love with it.
And that's what we got the dimensional one out there, and I had the sofa under it for a while, and then had to put a desk there. So.
Yeah, exactly. The growing pains.
Yeah, so.
We've got one office left, and we tried 2, and one's a brick one that we use for storage, and I'm sure that one's going to be filled with a body soon. So
Yeah, I guess I'd just like to leave everybody with this. If you're still listening, if you'd ever be interested in an insurance quote, we would love the opportunity to earn your business. So like we had said, you can call us or text us or Facebook message us or
And
stop
it's
in.
free.
Free quote.
Free quotes.
And we're really great about saying, you know what, you've got a great deal going where you're at. Stay put. Let's wait. You've had a claim. Let's have you wait until renewal next time. We're really just open and transparent about that process.
So even with me, they were quoting some stuff for me, and I actually had a cheaper quote, but there was some stipulations around it that were somewhat worse as far as what I would have to pay if certain things happened, and they broke all that down for me, and even made kind of a better, breakdown, comparison of why this is better or why this is better. So that was very helpful for sure. Jordan did that for me.
That's amazing. Thank you. We just like to communicate on your terms, and kind of the perfect referral for us is just anybody that wants to have a second set of eyeballs on their policy to see if you are having the right coverages on there, or see if you're paying too much. And just we're kind of here to help answer any questions and really just be a resource for the community.
All of Missouri and Illinois, everywhere.
All right. Well, thanks for being the first official people on the OOT podcast here.
Yep. Can't wait to come back.
Yeah, definitely. This is Andrew with Ootbox Media, and thanks for coming out, you guys.
Thanks.
Thank you.